Hello, friends. Welcome back to another episode of I'll Call You Right Back podcast with me, your host. My name is Chad Medved. This is my podcast. Welcome to it. Appreciate yous all being here as usual. Each and every week, we're back with another great guest. And this week, we had another hiatus last week, but it was for good reason. We just had the first official benefit bingo on the Berg bus. This benefit bingo was all to raise proceeds for John Shalkowski, who is Odd Pittsburgh. But me and Nick from the Berg bus teamed up to throw the first ever bingo on a bus played in Pittsburgh. You're hearing it right here. We made history last night from what I could tell. I Googled and I've tried to look up to see if there was any other things in Pittsburgh where people played bingo on a bus, and I'm pretty sure we were the first ones to do it. So, thanks if you were there. We had a hell of a time. I mean, it couldn't have went better. For being the first, run at this bingo, it went pretty great. I have to say, it went pretty great. Everyone seemed to have a great time. I've been getting great feedback, and I'm excited for the future. I'm excited to do more of these. Me and Nick are already in talks on how we could make this bingo on the bus a regular thing, and I am excited to get that going. I'll say it on here first. April 22nd, we have the next event for the Berg bus. Me and Nick are going to, just keep working to, put out some events that people want to do. Nick said, let me know if you have any ideas. And one of my goals that I've always wanted to do was to plan, adult field trips. All right. Whenever I was younger, I would go to these YMCA fun days that were held on, Act 80 days for school, things like that. When you're a young kid and your parents are working, you're looking for, some sort of a way to have your kids have, someone to watch them whenever they're young, right? So YMCA did this thing. It was called a no school fun day, where you would pay like, $10 and you would go to, ice skate, you would go to the zoo, you would go to, some sort of an event, and they would, take you there, and then you would go get some lunch somewhere. And it was just a day to spend out, that your kid could, it was a resource for people. And it was fantastic. It was like some of my favorite times. And I wanted to plan an event that I would want to do as an adult, so my next event with the Berg bus is going to be April 22nd. It's a Monday. Okay. It's going to be an early event. And, basically what we're doing is we're trying to, extend the weekend. This is going to be like a call in sick to work show kind of. I'm excited about it. The plan is we are going to go on the bus. We are going to hit a coffee shop on the way up, and we are going to go to Laurel Caverns, and we are going to go through the caverns with a guided tour, and then we could go and explore ourselves. How fun does that sound? You buy a ticket, you get on the Berg bus down near the convention center, and we go on a voyage that Monday. Make it a long weekend, call off work, whatever you want to do. If you want to call off work, call off work. If you want to call off ahead of time and put it on the calendar, I'm telling you right now, April 22nd, it's official. It's going to be the first adult field trip hosted by me from I'll Call You Right Back. And our transportation is going to be none other than the Berg bus. It's going to be like the Magic School Bus. Instead, you have Nick and me, taking you on this voyage rather than Miss Frizzle. It's going to be a hell of a time, though. Going to go have a nice cup. Going to go tour Laurel Caverns. I mean, when's the last time you were at Laurel Caverns? Honestly, I know some people might have went for field trips back in the day, but as an adult, like what could be more fun of an event than to call off work with your friends and go tour, these caverns. And I'm excited about it. And like I said, this all came to be because I just wanted to create fun things that I would want to do as an adult. I would want to call off work and go on a field trip like this. And I think that this is going to be, the first of many. And I'm just very excited about it. I'm very excited about the event last night. We raised quite a bit of money for John Shalkowski to kind of combat these medical bills he has incurred over the last 4 or 5 months of him just dealing with this serious medical issue. And I just have to, say thank you to the people that came, bought the ride, or bought the ticket and took the ride rather. But the most important thank you that I could give is for all the local businesses who came together and donated the prizes that we won during bingo. Not we. I didn't win anything. I was hosting the whole time. But we had, well over $1,000 of, gift cards, merchandise, items, all donated by great businesses. We have Pittsburgh Candle, we had Dagny's Eatery, we had Streets on Carson, we had Yoli's Cucina, we had Bedamo's, we had Penguin tickets from Josh Getzoff, Anthony Bedamo donated a pair of Penguin tickets, we had, Lemon Tree Roasters down in Millville donated some cold brew coffee, Lawrenceville Pet Supply, who else am I missing? Zed's. It's unreal that I put this call out that I tapped in some of the people that I've had on the podcast, and I was like, hey, I'm throwing this benefit event. We just want to raise as much money as we can for John at Odd Pittsburgh. And once I started posting about these, just more businesses started reaching out and saying that they wanted to donate. So we played about 20 games of bingo on this bus last night. Everyone had a hell of a time. Everyone was winning prizes. Couldn't have went better. So thank yous all for that. I appreciate it. I know John and his family appreciate it more than you could imagine. This isn't nothing, super, crazy, but anything helps whenever you're dealing with that serious of a medical issue, because everyone knows if you're in the hospital, you're getting bills out the ass. America doesn't have the best health insurance, let's be real. So this is just a little thing to help John and his amazing family, and can't thank you and the business owners who donated enough. And obviously thank you to Nick and Kat from Bergbus for making this happen as well. Hope to see everyone else there. Now, we are here because obviously, people come and listen to the podcast because I interview awesome people. And this week I have another awesome guest. This week I sit down with Brown Bear Bread Cafe. It's a tongue twister. Kate is a owner of Brown Bear Bread Cafe over on Brownsville Road, and this is a cafe that has been open for a little bit over a year. They specialize in brunch, 10 to 2, I'm pretty sure every day, but they have a nice brunch selection. Whenever it's earlier than 10, you can go in there earlier and you could just buy their breads and their pre-made stuff, but they do some great work over there. She brought me some goodies whenever she came over, and we sat down and talked. We talk about, the bakery. We talk about her life before the bakery, how she kind of got involved with this, and how ultimately Brown Bear Bread Cafe came to be. And another great conversation with another great person in the city, offering this city another resource for delicious baked goods, delicious food. It's just incredible. We have so many great places that we could go and eat and, patronize. And it's fun because this event that we did with the Berg Bus, this was centralized around, supporting small businesses as well. Obviously people were winning gift cards, but, the reason that it is so people, learn about these different places that they might not have heard about. As I was announcing the gifts that were going on, I was announcing places as we were driving that people might not have, people didn't know of. So this is just a way to, people could win a gift card to a place that they've never been, and they could go head down and they could just, spend some money with these local businesses, because that is what is important. It's important to spend money at the places that you want to keep open. Brown Bear Bread Cafe is one of them. So check out their work. Everything is tagged below in the description, and I hope you enjoy the conversation. So without further ado, episode 271 of I'll Call You Right Back podcast with Brown Bear Bread Cafe. Thank you. Call you right back.
Telephone.
Hello? I'll Call You Right Back podcast. No?
With all this stuff.
The podcast, they're all official.
Oh my God, this feels so cool. Okay.
Did you get headphones for the last one?
No.
Okay. See, I don't know. I feel like some people dislike it. Some people like it a lot just because you could tell if you're like moving away from the mic.
Like you really have to be like up in it.
Kind of like brings you into it all.
So I, in a past life, I'm a trained opera singer.
No way.
Yes. And,
it's an opera singer.
Yes.
Wow.
I know. Very dramatic, but we don't use mics at all.
Yeah.
So anytime someone would like hand me a mic, I'd be like, what do I do with this? Close, far? What do I do? I have no idea.
Because you're probably used to enunciating.
Mm-hmm.
That's I mean, how do they, like, what year did you start? Like, how old were you when you started that?
So I guess like kind of 18. When I went to college for music, I went to college for vocal performance and music education.
Okay.
And, then I went to grad school also for opera performance. And I don't know, regular music that wasn't in another language wasn't that interesting. That's not true. It's not that it wasn't that interesting. It's that I like the challenge
the challenge of it.
Yeah, I really like the challenge of like figuring it out and learning how to read this music and learning how to read this language. And so yeah, I went to school for that and loved it. Gave it a really good college try for 6 years out there in the audition world. And I just like needed a break. I needed to step back. I needed to get my head right. And that was 3 years ago.
Wow.
And now I opened a business and I'm doing okay.
Yeah. I mean,
doing okay.
I had no idea. So I'm late to the game with Brown Bear.
Okay.
And I've recently tried it from Dagny's.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I tried.
That's how, okay. Got
That's
it.
how I got linked up.
Okay.
I followed you beforehand.
Okay.
I can't remember who else mentioned it. Someone mentioned it or someone posted it on Instagram.
Yeah.
You know, everyone sees everyone's stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I'm, kind of fascinated on that end of it all, but you kind of just threw a wrench into it because I feel like I'm curious about that too.
You can ask me. I'm an open book.
You're an open book.
Yeah.
Okay, that's perfect. So are you from Pittsburgh originally?
No, I'm from upstate New York, like near Rochester.
Okay.
Yep. And my partner and I moved here in April 2020, which was wild and really fun.
Yeah, April 2020.
Yeah, it was. I know. We just were like, you know what? The town that we were living in is a college town and all the kids were going home.
Yeah.
And being in the restaurant industry, what am I going to do
Yeah.
if 50,000 people are suddenly no longer in the town I work in? How am I going to support myself? And there's just a lot more going on here in Pittsburgh and a lot more opportunity. My best friend from college lives here and grew up here. So we had come to visit and we were like, yeah, we could do this. Yeah, totally. It's like about the same cost of living and we just up and left and haven't looked back and it's home. It's definitely home now.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I don't know. I've never been afraid to just like pick up and move.
That's good.
I don't know how or why, but
well, that's I mean, it got to be an exciting life, right?
Yeah, exciting is definitely a word we could use.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's better than a boring life. You know what I mean?
I always tell people I've lived like a million lives, and
I know in 2 minutes you were like, I was a realtor, I practiced opera, I own a business now. So, you sound like you have a wild life.
Yeah, I guess so. When I don't know, when I'm just living, it doesn't really feel like that. But I guess I kind of have. And I used to be like embarrassed about that, about having done so many different things. Cause like if you look at let's say I were to write a resume, oh my God, I don't even know what that would look like. Good luck, anyone, if I ever need a job in the future.
Why does that embarrass you? Do you think of that as like, you chalk it up as like a failure?
Yeah, I guess so.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And I don't necessarily think that anymore. Or I'm trying not to anyway.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's like I can't stick to one thing, but I do get bored.
Yeah.
I get bored easily. And I like being like a well-rounded person who like has all these different things that they can do. Sometimes that makes it difficult. If I were to ever enter like the real job force, like the non-restaurant, non-artist job force, like a work from home kind of corporate job, I don't know how, I don't think I could do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an acquired taste.
Yeah.
I feel like that the majority of the people that I speak to on here kind of have the same type of feeling. They're like, because I don't know if I necessarily have ever had just a corporate person on that's like
Fair.
I don't know, just holds a corporate title,
Yeah.
a small piece in a big machine. I think the closest I got to that was very blue collar. My buddy's he's a welder in the union.
Nice.
I had him come on and talk to me about that because he was more, it's interesting to meet someone who kind of always knew what they wanted to do in their life.
Yeah. Can you imagine what that would be like?
No, never.
God.
And this guy has always like lived and breathed, just wrenching, blue collar, like, salt of the
so
earth.
cool, honestly.
Yeah. And I was like, come on and let's talk about it because, you don't often meet too many people that are just like loving.
Yeah, they're like super stoked
to
be
about
in the
it.
trades.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And
so
we should be.
We should be about it. I mean, so I was like, why not? I mean, my goal with this is to kind of understand how people got to where they were today.
Yeah, that's so cool.
So, I mean, like I often hear these wild stories about how people are trained opera singers and everything.
Yeah.
So let's rewind a little bit before we get into Brown Bear. I mean, obviously you own this business, Brown Bear Bread Cafe. And I mean, how long have you owned that?
So we started the business, my partner Dan and I started the business in 2021-ish. Just kind of doing it out of our house and selling to friends and just like very low key.
Yeah.
And it quickly became not chill and not low key because people were really into it and they wanted more and more and more. Pardon me. So we rented a commercial kitchen and started doing the stuff. Now, for full disclosure, I'm not the baker.
I was just going to ask, who's the baker?
Dan is the baker. I am the people person. I do the front of house stuff, social media, PR. And I run the front of the house, like in the shop when we're open.
And he just wants to be in the back making stuff.
Yeah. He's like, can you talk to them, please?
Well, that's good. I mean, like, you got to have a good balance like that. Everything looks incredible what you brought.
Thank you.
What kind of loaf is that?
Okay. So that's our special sourdough for the month of February. That is a chocolate cherry sourdough.
Chocolate cherry.
Chocolate cherry. Yeah. So it is like a little sweet, but it is sourdough. So it still has that tang.
Yeah.
Our sourdough starter is named Phil.
Phil, how old?
He's like 3.5. He's up there.
Now, oh, Jesus Christ. Hopefully that didn't break. Now, let me ask you this. So, like, how does someone just all of a sudden want to get into, like, baking? Was that something that he was into from the beginning? Okay.
So kind of, yeah. So he has been a chef for a long time. He went to culinary school for a while and then just started working. I mean, he had been working in restaurants before, but really was very serious about like working his way up. When I met him, he was an executive chef.
Wow.
And, it's a really thankless job. Like it's a really difficult, really thankless job. He was so good at it. That's how we met. I was a waitress. He was a chef, like very,
typical of the food industry.
Yeah, exactly. And then he just didn't want to be buying the bread at the restaurant. Like he didn't want to be buying bread from the distributor at the restaurant that we worked at. So he did end up making quite a bit of the bread on his own.
Okay.
Like flatbreads and then occasionally, a couple like bread baskets and things like that, rolls. And then it was like, oh, I think I really like this. Oh, this is really cool. And he just started doing it more and more at home. And I don't know when it became like a full-blown obsession for him, but it did become a full-blown obsession. Wow. And he's just like the smartest baker I've ever seen. Like I'm not a baker like this, so I don't like. I could make a cake and it would be ugly as sin, but it would taste really good. Yeah. So like that's cool. But this is something on a completely different like scientific level.
Absolutely. He's an alchemist. He's a chemist.
Yes,
that's literally what it is.
Yeah. And he will literally sit on the couch at home and just like write a bread recipe. Just like from his head, and it's all ratios, so it's like all percentages and stuff.
Absolutely.
And then
the hydration percent with sourdoughs and everything. I got super into it whenever I got laid off
in 2020.
Yeah, and I kind of like honed in on it pretty crazy. I thought I was gonna like completely quit my job and become like a
sourdough baker.
Sourdough, but also just like rolls and stuff like that. It's easy to fall in love with. You put so satisfying. Much love into it, and then you have to like work for that like satisfying sourdough loaf with a perfect crumb at the end.
It's like really it's really satisfying.
It is satisfying for sure. So he was a chef beforehand, wasn't a baker, because often
not really, no,
because often you find someone that's either a chef or a baker,
right? Exactly.
Usually the chefs don't like the precision with baking.
Exactly. I don't know, his little weird little brain, love you, his weird little brain just really took to it.
That's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool to hear. Okay, so now let's rewind a little bit, because I'm curious about kind of your history a little bit. So I mean, growing up in Rochester, you obviously you told me you trained to be an opera singer, but like, what did you think you were going to do when you were younger?
I thought I was going to be a famous pop star.
Oh, okay.
Yes, for sure. I really did.
Who was like your jam back then?
I mean, Brittany.
Brittany.
Like,
can I ask how old you are, just to get it?
I'm 30.
Okay. Yeah.
So 99 was her first album. I was 6.
Hell yeah.
Ugh, it was formative. Yeah,
I'm 33, so like I was like right in there. My wife is 30, so she is right in there.
It just, and then Christina at the same time, and they were just like, it was all about the pop girls, and I loved that. I really, really loved that. I guess I always wanted to be famous in a way.
Well, it's easy. I mean, I would gather, my assumption, it would be easy for a young woman to want that.
Yeah.
By growing up in the time that we grew up. I mean, you had the Spice Girls, Hillary Duff, Brittany,
and
Christina, all them.
And I grew up in a small town, so I didn't grow up in Rochester, more like outside of it in the rural areas. So I think my town has like 10,000 people in it. So there wasn't a lot going on.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot of opportunity for fame. Or being on the stage. So I took every opportunity that I possibly could. My mom likes to joke that that I was like singing before I was talking. Okay. And I kind of started talking late, which is weird because now I never stop talking. But that's fine. I would like be singing, and my aunt would be like, she's like 3 and it like sounds okay. Wow. That's weird. And then I had a boyfriend in college, who I had to park on the street when I would go over to his house, and he had like a balcony, and he always said that he could hear me before he could see me because I never stopped humming.
Wow. So you were living and breathing, singing.
And it's still a huge part of me. It's I don't notice that I'm singing all the time, but I definitely am. And I love it.
I'm terrible at singing. I sing all the time.
Yeah, you have to. It just feels so good.
You just got to get it out. In this, before we started recording, we talked about how, tough the year has been so far. Yeah. So got to try to find that, glass half empty outlook on things. Yeah, for sure. Or glass half full, rather.
Right, yeah. That's not great.
Easy to find the glass half empty one as of late. But, like in a small town, you're growing up in high school and you're like trying to decide, I assume that, in 9th, 10th grade, you kind of have an idea if you're going to be a pop star or not. Right.
And then it was more like, well, I have to go to college because apparently our generation had to go to college.
Yeah. Ridiculous. Hey, that's so crazy to think about.
It's upsetting. Yes.
Yeah, it is.
We could go on we could record an entire podcast all about that.
That's what my last 6 years have been, is like, is that whole premise.
Yeah. You mean like trying to pay off the loans that you'll never ever pay off?
Just trying to understand why why we were all shepherded into that way. Whereas, nowadays kids are like, don't go to school. Just do whatever. TikToker or some shit.
Or be a barista. Like whatever makes you happy. I think that, like we talked about earlier, that my resume was so crazy. Yeah. And I think that the reason why it made me feel bad is because that is the pressure that we were put under in the very formative years of like, oh, you're just going to be flipping burgers for the rest of your life. Yep. And then that leads into like, being a barista is equivalent to flipping burgers. And then all of a sudden you're equating your worth to your job. And, that'll like really fuck you up.
Yeah, it's crazy because like, you think about it and you're like, you don't want to end up like a garbage man or like
we need garbage men.
And
women.
Realistically, it's not a bad job. Like
I bet the benefits are incredible, to be honest with you.
It's like
Can you imagine the healthcare?
Just feel duped. I feel duped after talking to all these people.
Yes, I do too, to be honest with you. That is what I'm like most bitter about these days.
Well, it's good that we're young enough to still figure it out and be able to, start down our own path of the stuff that we want to do.
Yeah, totally. I mean, like, look at you.
I hope that this will eventually become full time.
That'd be amazing. Oh my God.
It would be amazing.
Okay, who can we get to Topo Chico sponsor? Come on.
I've messaged Topo numerous times. Liquid Death, Topo, but
I don't think Liquid Death will sponsor anybody.
We're getting there. It's going to happen. So you're in high school and you're trying to figure out what you're going to do as a career. I mean, like, what are you going to school? What's your plan when you graduate? What do you think you're going to do for a job?
So, well, I guess I had kind of thought that I wanted to be a music teacher.
Oh, okay.
That's part of the degree that I got for my bachelor's was music education.
Where'd you go to school?
Ithaca College.
Ithaca.
Yeah.
Okay.
And every single one of my music teachers went there. So it was like, oh yeah, I want to go there because they're good, and I want to do what they did.
Yeah.
So I guess that's what I originally started out wanting to do, and then I was kind of I kind of was good at performing and singing opera. It just came really naturally. The language just came really naturally. And I was having a great time, and my teachers were pushing me to keep doing the performance stuff. And I did. And, I had it, I guess, kind of on good authority that they were like, you can totally do this. This can be a thing.
When you say this, what is
have a career in opera?
But in your mind, what would be your goal at that point? Just be an opera performer?
Yeah. Travel the world or live in Europe and be an opera singer.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah. I mean, it's really difficult to do. And it's really difficult to do because it is very expensive.
Yeah.
And you have to be privileged in order to succeed in the opera world.
Yeah.
And that's what's made me so bitter and step back from it for a while, is the fact that me not coming from privilege or, coming from rich anything means that I had to work a million times harder because I can't afford to apply to as many jobs as someone who has more money than I do.
Yeah.
Because in opera, it costs money to apply for a job.
What do you mean? How does that work?
Think of when you apply for college and there's an application fee.
Yeah, good point.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, and they want people that they probably put that on there to weed out the people.
Right, but then they also use that application fee. Yeah. To pay whatever else is going on behind the scenes. Yeah. So sometimes an application fee could be $20, but sometimes it could be $150.
Wow.
So all of the sudden, you want to apply to as many jobs as you can.
Starts adding up.
Yeah, you can spend $3,000 in an audition season just like that. And to some people, that's not a lot of money, but to me, that's my life savings sometimes, So I would, when I was living in Ithaca, it's only 4 hours from New York City. So I would, if I had an audition, I would leave early in the morning, drive down to New York City, park in a parking garage, run to my audition, do my audition, run out, get back to my car, and drive back home.
My goodness.
Yeah, I did that 4 times.
Wow. Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah. And, at the end of the day, I was getting heard by some good people and some good companies, and that was really lovely and flattering. But no jobs came from it. No paying jobs came from it. And unfortunately, I am one of those people who does need a paying job.
Yeah.
So it's very unfortunate. But c'est la vie. So I had to, kind of decide if I wanted to keep going or not. And
is that how you end up in the food industry working?
Yeah. I mean, when you're an artist, you're always in the food industry.
Yeah.
Sort of. Yeah. I mean, not necessarily.
I would say 80 or 90%. Yeah. It got to be 8 or 9 out of the 10 people that I talk to that are in some sort of art find their way into the food industry.
It's the most flexible.
Yeah.
You can call somebody down the street and be like, can you cover my shift today? Can you cover my shift today? You can't do that if you're a corporate girlie, I don't think.
Yeah. That's a good point.
So that's why I was always drawn to it, because sometimes I would have to, go to New York City for a day and come back, and I wouldn't know until 2 weeks before I had to leave. And so, that just made the most sense to me. But then I'm weirdly good at it because I love talking to people.
Yeah.
I just love people so much.
Yeah.
So I don't really meet a stranger ever. And food, I love food. I love to eat and I love food. And so it's combining two things that I'm really good at, talking to people and eating, I guess.
So what year is this whenever you're getting done with college?
2015.
So 2015, you're getting finished up with that.
Yeah.
You're working in the food industry.
Yeah.
What is your outlook getting out of school?
So then I went to grad school.
Okay.
Yeah, I went to Arizona State. So I moved from Central New York all the way to Phoenix.
Wow.
For 2 years. Yeah. By myself with $800 in my bank account. And I don't recommend that.
Yeah.
It was really stupid. I mean, the $800 part, not the moving to Arizona part.
Yeah.
I had a great time. I got my master's degree in 2 years. I had a wonderful time. I learned so much. My voice improved so much. I met so many friends.
Wow.
And living in the desert was weird. Super weird, coming from like lush upstate New York.
Yeah.
It was like living on the moon. It was a really good time. And then I came home and my world kind of came crashing down as far as, my schedule. I bet you did not think you were going to get all of this, Chad.
I mean, I think you'd be surprised. Last week, I spoke, or the last episode, a couple episodes ago, I spoke with one of like the yoga godmothers in Pittsburgh. Her name is Montana Mitchell. For people that are looking, you can find her at Yoga 6 or Yoga Flow. But she was, I had no idea about her. I just knew she was a yoga person, but she was like a crazy dancer, like modern dance. Like, so we went in a crazy conversation about, like, that was her whole life. And
so she's telling you about the dance industry in the way that I'm telling you about my experience with the opera industry.
And that's what I'm like kind of associating it with, where it's like you have to be in the right spots. Like she was talking about how she kind of had to be in New York if she wanted any shot of any sort of,
it's kind of true. I just couldn't do it.
Yeah. And that's what she said. It's just crazy money. And
it's crazy money. And I would like a window. I always joke that, like, you see videos that are like, and this bedroom has a window or something. And you're like, shouldn't all bedrooms have
I know.
Please.
I see all the stuff on TikTok of people in like studio apartments in like, the Bronx or whatever like that. And
it's like $2,000 a month. Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah. I couldn't do it. I need green. I need greenery.
Absolutely.
There's a park, but it's not the same.
So you come up here, you come home.
So I went back to New York.
Yeah.
And my world kind of came crashing down. The schedule of, the reality of being a student for 20 years comes crashing down when you're no longer a student.
That's this is 1,000,000% what she said. Her whole life is done.
Regimented, just completely
militant.
Yes.
And then it's just done.
Done.
And then she went in the food industry.
No way.
Yeah. It's an interesting episode. You should listen to it.
Oh my God, I'm totally going to.
Because like you, she was great at what she did. And it's just like, didn't have the opportunities other people did, didn't luck out the way the other people did. And, had to pay bills.
Had to pay bills. Yeah. There's like programs that where for these things that I was auditioning for, some of them would be like 3 months. So you'd have to, completely uproot your life for 3 months.
Yeah.
And then I'd scroll all the way down to the bottom of the application where they tell you how much they're going to pay you.
Unpaid.
No, or it would be like $250 per week stipend. I'm sorry.
It's like, I don't eat food.
This is 2016.
Yeah, I don't survive on food or anything.
Right. I don't need it. Oh my God. Awful. So, and then it was like, must provide your own housing. What? I don't know how
it's tough
people
to do for a young person.
Yeah. I don't know how people do that. So then also the reality of student loans set in when I graduated with my master's. And it was really difficult. It was really, really difficult. I was in a kind of a tumultuous relationship at the time too, and that was very difficult. I knew that I needed to like leave, but I needed some time to figure that out. It was really eye-opening.
So how do you come to that realization that, I'm not going to build my career on stage?
Slowly over a few years.
Yeah.
I would say, it's always been like a reality in the back of your head the whole time from 18 to 26 or so, 27, 28 when I stopped auditioning. But I just got pissed.
Yeah.
I just got really pissed. Like, I spent how much money doing these auditions? I spent all this time. I spent all this energy. Plus, you have to be taking voice lessons all the time and coachings all the time to make sure you're in shape. And that's expensive too. And I just was like, this sucks.
It's not sustainable.
It's just not sustainable. I just got pissed at my final audition season that nothing came from it. And my voice wasn't doing what I wanted it to do. And I was just like, I just need a break.
Yeah.
I need a break. So I planned to take a year, and that was 3 years ago. And honestly,
now you're a business owner.
Yeah. And honestly, I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay. I'm working through it. I feel like if you ever talk to ballet, like someone who's been in ballet or something like that, or if any of your listeners know what I'm talking about, it's very much feels like that sometimes, like that kind of world of bitterness when it ends, and just trying to figure out like where you fit in the world once you've been in this 6 years of constant criticism. Because that's what music school is. It's just constant criticism, and it's for the best. It's what you want, it's like what you need in order to get better. But it'll mess you up.
Yeah, I bet it will.
Yeah, and stronger people than me can handle that, but I'm kind of a sensitive baby, and that's okay.
All right. That's all right. You find your way.
Yeah, you find your way. And like, I'm done being ashamed of being a sensitive baby. It's who I am. It's who I've always been. It's who I've been fighting, against my whole life. But whatever. It's more fun over here.
It is. It's more fun.
It's
you
more
just gotta, whatever. That's all it is.
It's
whatever.
A roller coaster that is like way crazier than anybody else who might be a little bit more stable.
Yeah, I mean, you're getting there at the beat of your own drum, though.
Oh yeah, my parents must hate me. I'm so sorry to my mom and dad.
Same with mine. My brother is he has a nice secure position in a big company.
So does mine.
My mother was very much like, were your parents like more like go to school, secure lifestyle, all that?
Yeah, they didn't. Neither of them really went to college. They like one did for associates, and then one kind of had like a certificate and went into the trades. So yeah.
Yeah, I was very much like, I'm a youngest, the youngest in the family. My older brother's 6 years older than me. He was kind of always shepherded into, you got to go to school, all this. But I've always been more of like, I'm trying to do some other shit. I just don't want to.
Did you do some other shit? Did you go to school?
I went to school. Yeah, I got I went to school originally, Slippery Rock, for elementary ed and special ed. Didn't want to move away. Failed out because I was just young, didn't care.
Yeah. Quit,
got a job at a machine shop, killing myself for $10 an hour, to where the old people that have been there forever were like, yo, get out of here while you can. Like literally telling me that.
Wow, that's like,
went to college.
Good for them. Like that's awesome.
Did all right there. Now I work as somewhat of an engineer at a place. But, is it everything that I've hoped and dreamed?
Right.
No. I enjoy the people there. That's what keeps me there most of anything. But we're figuring it out. This is we're moving somewhere with the podcast.
Yeah.
So, it's good to see everyone's, progression. It's good to hear about, the failures of it all.
Listen, I got a lot of stories.
I know. I like it. That's what I get mainly from these conversations is like, you hear about these people's failures, and you hear about people that, kind of couldn't figure it out in the beginning, and then they just kind of make the jump and they get to where they are today. And we
got to talk about that. Like we all got to talk about our failures and not be ashamed of it. I don't know. I'm an open book. Like,
I've always been more, I've always been very in touch with my emotions. I've always been very open. I've always been, not afraid to just fuck up and, just not do things right, learn from my mistakes. But it's just, we're doing it ourselves. I'd rather do it myself and figure it out myself.
Yeah, I'd rather feel it myself too than have someone just tell me about it and then
1,000,000%
be scared of whatever they're saying and not do it.
Absolutely.
It's much harder to live this way, I think. I've never lived any other way, to be honest with you, but it's much harder feeling,
I think the lessons stick more than if you have if you're just like kind of have that padding. But if you're failing at stuff, you don't want to feel it anymore. You want to figure shit out. You don't want to be in this position anymore. So I don't know. It's good. I use it as tackling fuel. Yeah. Kind of. But so I mean, enough about me though. So back to you. I mean, you're figuring it out, and you end up meeting your partner. Yeah. And I mean, it's as quick as that. You guys just moved down here in April of 2020? We got together in June of 2019, and then we I moved in within like 2 weeks of starting to date, and brought my dog along with me, and we've been inseparable ever since. That's perfect.
Yeah, it is. And so we've only ever really worked together. We met at work, and then we went to another job together, and then when we moved here, we were on that sweet unemployment for a while.
Yeah.
Which, God, remember that?
It was
That
nice.
so nice.
It was real nice.
And then we didn't work together for a couple years, but we always knew that like we wanted to get back to it because it just makes sense. I love being around him. I love hanging out with him.
Yeah.
He's super smart. And we both bring lots of strengths to the table. We also have another business partner. Her name is Kaylee Carini.
Okay.
And so the three of us own the business together.
Yeah.
She has been a pastry chef. She's the same age as me, and she's been a pastry chef for, God, I don't know, 10 years, something like
Wow.
that. And so she is like our kitchen manager and pastry chef, and she also does the books, and she knows a lot. She's really smart, and I absolutely adore her. So we've become a really good team at Brown Bear, but Dan and I started it together just already as being a good team, I think.
Yeah.
And I don't ever really get sick of working with him.
That's good.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a good sign, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Well, where does the name come from?
So I'll have to show you our business card, or you can like put a logo up or something. I can send it to you. The logo is the outline of my dog's ears.
The dog's ears.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my dog Luke is 7, and he's going to be 7 this year, and he's my little brown bear. I don't know. He's like some kind of lab mix pit bull-y hound thing.
Yeah.
And he's just like my soulmate, the love of my life. I got him in 2017 and with my ex. And then when we broke up, it was like, he's very obviously your dog. You take him, you know, like he's just completely attached to me at the hip. And he just is a little brown bear. So that became a nickname that Dan and I always called him. And I can remember in 2019, like being in our kitchen in our old apartment and being like, wouldn't Brown Bear Bakery be good? Like, wouldn't that be a good name? Yeah, totally. In the future, that's what it's going to be. And
were you guys like actively thinking about like, let's open a bakery?
It was like, yeah, this is something we're going to do like when we're older.
Yeah.
You know, like when we grow up. And it just kind of happened way sooner than that.
Well, that's cool. I mean, like, it's cool that it kind of, you know, you make it happen, I feel.
Yeah, we did. But also, like, I swear
things lined up.
Things really line up and just kind of fell into our laps in a way that we were like, well, I guess we have to do this.
Yeah.
You know? So
what brings you to Pittsburgh?
So I just wanted more opportunity.
Yeah.
More stuff going on.
Pittsburgh's good enough where it's the biggest, smallest city.
And that's kind of what we were looking for. Like something East Coast-ish.
Yeah.
You know, East Coast adjacent enough that you could get to New York by car if you wanted.
Yeah.
And that was affordable. So first we were looking at Philly, and Dan was like, there's no trees.
Yeah, I mean, Philly's cool, but it's like you don't really get what you get here.
You really don't.
It's like you're 20 minutes out of the city right now, and we're just like in the cut.
Yeah, it took me 15 minutes to get here.
Yeah, it's not bad at all.
Yeah, we literally are like in the woods. Yeah.
And that's why I moved out of the city. It's like I like this. I want to be able to have a fire. I want a little bit of a yard.
Yeah.
You know, we live on the trail.
Some
I want to be around
chickens.
trees and stuff.
Right.
Exactly. Chickens are coming this year.
No way.
Yeah, we were working on it last year, but shit just goes.
Oh, I love chickens. They're
goes
so
awry.
Cool. So cool. So so then we came here and visited, and it's like you drive 10 miles in any direction and you can be in the woods.
Yeah.
And Dan was like, yep, this is good.
Okay.
So I was like, me too. I like it. So it's been amazing. Everyone here in Pittsburgh is so nice.
April 2020, you got here.
Yeah.
I mean, like, what is the move during COVID like?
God, it was wild. It was lonely as fuck.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, like it was so hard to make friends. I feel like I didn't really find like my community until like 2 years in.
Yeah.
Because we were all just trying to like figure it
Masked
out.
up, not talking to people.
Right.
Like, just get in and get out where you need to go.
Right, exactly. We weren't like hanging out at bars and, you know, stuff like that, trying to meet people. So it was lonely, but oh my God, there was no traffic.
Yeah.
It was
I know.
incredible.
Back in those times, now there's traffic 24/7.
Oh, it's so awful.
No matter what, if you're going through the tunnel, you're hitting a little bit of traffic.
Everybody just keep driving.
Yeah.
Okay. It's just a
maintain speed.
One time my friend said it's just a road with a cover on it.
Yeah, it's weird
That's
that
it.
people have to stop all the time.
Oh my God, it's wild. Pittsburghers are wild. So
Did you come to Pittsburgh thinking like we're going to open this cafe?
no,
Oh, okay.
no idea.
So you came here and that's where you became a realtor for a little bit.
Yeah, I was a realtor for a little bit.
Okay.
I became a realtor in August of 2020.
Okay.
And
Why a realtor? Like what makes you pick that?
I don't
just a good
flexible,
outlet. Yeah, flexible.
You know,
make your own hours.
Yeah, and then like theoretically make a bunch of money.
Yeah, it seems appealing.
It seems appealing.
Seems appealing.
Exactly. And it was. I mean, I did okay. It was tough starting because I
have to build.
Yeah, you have to build
your name.
Yeah, exactly. So it was really tough starting, but then I got on with a real estate team and had a really great couple of years, really great 2 years in the industry. And
did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I did, but it's hard.
Let me ask you, what's the worst part about it?
Oh my God, just getting angry phone calls.
Yeah.
Actually, phone calls.
Yeah.
Period.
It got to be so crazy.
So crazy.
Especially like in COVID times, whenever all that shit's going on. We bought this house December 2020.
Oh, shit.
So we kind of hit the sweet spot of where it was. But I remember July, August, September was just like chaos.
Yeah.
We put it in an offer somewhere, and that was at the point where you could not have any contingencies. You had to give cash over the asking value, and you're like, how can you even buy a house in this world?
Yeah.
But luckily we were able to make it in here. But the whole aspect of it, I feel like you started in a tough time.
Yeah, but also a really interesting time.
Yeah.
Where it's, it was taking 2 days to sell a house instead of 2 months.
Yeah.
And so then when it started to kind of slow down a little bit, I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
What's going on? I don't like this. Really though, like, I can fully say real estate is not what I'm best at. Like it's fine to be like, I'm not the best real estate agent.
Yeah.
I'm good with people, and that's kind of what makes me like, okay. But, I never want to participate in anything like selling investors' homes or, being a part of any like gentrification or anything that's happening around our city, which there's a lot of it happening.
Yeah, good luck.
That's icky to me, like that feels icky. It also feels icky around here, or not necessarily around here, but like south of here, where there's all these new developments that are being developed and farmland is just like gone.
Yeah, taken away.
Yeah, and it's just a lot of realtors are excited by that because they're like, ooh, opportunity. Sales. And me, I'd be like, ooh.
Yeah, it's like, where's like, who's living in all these places? Like all the shit that they're building down in Pittsburgh that they're like, tearing all these places down for. It's like, who's even living in there?
Right. And can they afford it? It's listen, again,
that's a whole nother conversation.
A whole nother podcast.
Whole nother crazy conversation.
Right. But there's a lot of that in the real estate industry, and there's a lot of jerks. I mean, there's a lot of real estate agents that it would be fine if I never heard from them ever again, but, I don't know why. I think it's really silly. Everybody's on the same team as far as trying to sell the house, but a lot of real estate agents are not friendly. Yeah. And, I am very friendly, and I like to be very friendly, and I like to goof around with people. And
these other people are like, you're my competition.
Yeah. But it's like, there's room.
I know, room for everyone. That's why I never understood, like, if people with other podcasts, I've had people with other podcasts like talk shit and just like unfollow me and just completely like cut ties with me.
Like, it's cool if it's because they fundamentally don't agree with you about something. That's
I had them on the podcast. We were friends.
Yeah.
And then I don't know. It's just, I don't know if this ain't even like a money making thing. We're not even in business together, but I don't get how people have that. Like, I'm combative, I'm very competitive, but it's like, I'm competitive whenever I'm playing fucking Monopoly.
Yeah. Or competitive within yourself, because you want to drive yourself to be better.
But this, situations like this, you're like, how big of a competition is it? It's like,
yeah, there is room for everybody.
Room for everyone. You're right though. Competition, it's I don't know. It's not worth it.
No, I mean, healthy competition.
Healthy competition.
Sure. Motivational.
It's different than competition. Yeah.
Yeah. There's definitely room for every bakery that's in Pittsburgh.
100%. Inns are all making different stuff.
Yes, no matter what, it's different.
It's different.
Even if you're making sourdough, even if you're making English muffins, even if you're making
the
exact same thing that I'm making, it's going to be different just because someone different is making it.
100%.
And
I'm going to eat Dagny's cheesecake. I'll eat the other place's cheesecakes.
Hell yeah.
I'm not.
And they're all different.
They're all different.
And
they all taste better.
Equally good.
They're all good.
Eyes. Yes.
They're all good.
It's not a big deal. It also becomes, about like who you want to support.
Yeah, and I can understand that. It's like choosing who you would like to put your money back into.
Right.
And it's understandable. People like to do, businesses that are in their neighborhood. Mm-hmm. We have a bakery around here that I go to all the time.
Yeah.
And, I like to support the neighborhood. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, exactly. And also you want to support who you like and maybe who you align with.
Absolutely.
And people who are trying to do good things rather than not.
Yeah.
And there's definitely people out there in business that are not. And when you find out that they're not,
choose not to support them anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because somebody else who maybe doesn't agree with you will. And it's fine.
Yeah.
You know, it's totally fine. It's not a big deal.
Absolutely.
So, I don't know. I think like bitterness in business between businesses.
That's what made you leave leave being a realtor?
Not necessarily. It's more, I was talking more about bakeries then.
Oh, okay, yeah.
No, I honestly just got too busy with the shop.
Okay. So you were still a realtor while like how does the idea come to you guys that I'm going to own a shop, that I want to open a shop?
Well, it kind of didn't. We, to be honest with you, I thought this was 5 years down the road.
Yeah.
I was like, I knew this was going to be a thing, but I was not ready in any way. And we met with some people who own the building that we're currently renting for our shop. And it ended up not being a good relationship, but we're still there and we're still in the shop. And we were originally looking for just kitchen space, but we ended up renting the whole place somehow, and everything just kind of fell in line, and boom, a couple weeks later we opened a shop.
Wow.
Yeah. And
quick as that.
Yeah. And it wasn't quite right, and it was very difficult, and we learned so much along the way, but we never faltered, and we had so many setbacks that I can't even really get into.
Yeah.
But we had so many setbacks from so many different sources, and you just figure it out. And we just figured it out and just kept going. And I don't know how the three of us have remained so resilient to do this.
Yeah.
But we have. There's been a lot of issues that have come up. And I mean, it's anytime you're going to open a new business, especially a food establishment, there's a lot that you have to consider.
Random stuff.
Yeah. And there's nobody on the sidelines being like, hey, this is how you do it. This is exactly how you do it. You have to do this. You have to file this form, and you have to file this, and then you have to call this person. You know, there's all these different sources because everybody goes about it kind of a different way.
Yeah.
So you just figure it out, and you try to lean on as many people as you can, but you just figure it out. And I'm really lucky that I have two partners who are good at that, who are really good at that, and really resilient and just tough, just fucking tough.
Well, when did the doors actually open?
June 3rd of 2023 is when we opened.
Oh, June. So now where's this gap in between? So you moved here April 2020.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you worked as a realtor for 2 years.
Yeah, like 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that brings you into 2023.
Uh-huh.
Your partner was working in the food industry still.
Yes.
And then you opened June 3rd. Mm-hmm. When did you opened the bake shop while you were still a realtor? Yeah. Okay.
But I didn't have, things had sort of started to slow down a little bit for me. And because I knew that, weirdly, this time last year, I knew something was coming.
Okay.
I knew something big was going to happen in my life, but I didn't know what, and I didn't know how. One time in my car, I have a keychain that I found around January of last year in a Joann Fabrics parking lot. I had gone in to buy, I don't know, jars for the business, something, because we were doing farmers markets and pop-ups and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I went in to buy little jars. We were going to sell olive oil or something like that. And I come out of Joann's and I look down, and there's a tarot card keychain on the ground. And I was like, well, I have to pick this up. So I picked it up, and it was the Empress. I don't know much about tarot, really anything, other than what I see on TikTok. So my phone is now going to show me a bunch of tarot card readings because it's listening. And I looked it up, and I asked all my friends, what does this mean? This is really spooky. It just appeared out of nowhere. It must mean something. And the Empress is the sign of fertility and femininity. And when I first read that, I was like, I'm not ready for that. No, thank you. No children. So what does this mean? Well, it can mean fertility in lots of different aspects of your life. It doesn't, necessarily mean a baby. And so I took that as a really good sign, and I didn't know what, but it spooked me out. It really spooked me out. And so I kept it in my car, in my little console, and there she stays. And then Yeah. And then I was just kind of working, trying to figure stuff out. Stuff with the business was going really well as far as like getting some other wholesale accounts and different things like that. And then April came along and I met the person who owns the building that we're currently in, and the rest is history.
Wow.
Yeah.
So whenever you decide that this was going to be a brick and mortar, you know, like what are the foundations that you guys are making in there?
What do you mean?
Like what are the pillars? Like you obviously have sourdough loaves and like you got English muffins and you got some cream puffs and everything. But what was there anything that anything that you're doing now that you weren't doing back then?
Yeah. We kind of became a restaurant. We originally wanted to open as a bakery.
Yeah.
And it kind of morphed into a cafe as well.
Okay.
We started doing that because, you know, we're a small business in a very big building with a lot of overhead.
Yeah.
And
you're figuring it out,
figuring it out. What's gonna be the thing that's going to allow us to stay, that's going to allow us to make some money and thrive. And, you know, bread is fantastic, but people don't need bread necessarily every single day.
Yeah.
So what else can we do?
A shitload of it to pay your bills.
Yes, exactly. So what are we going to do? And we only have one baker, Dan, and we can't kill him too much. Yeah. So what are we going to do? So things were going fine, but then people started really liking the food that we were putting out. And we're like, okay, people are liking this food. We would put out waffles and
like
French
a limited
toast
menu.
And just like random things that we had around. And that we thought, oh, hey, this would be good. Maybe someone will buy this, you know? And then it kind of was like, well, maybe we should do something more with this. So Dan and Kaylee sat down and wrote a menu and started planning it out. And I don't remember exactly like when we started doing brunch. I really don't remember. Everything has been a blur for the last 8 months.
But the beginning of it all, you guys just intended to sell baked goods, like
mostly bread. Yeah. Like there was definitely going to be some sandwiches and some grab and go items.
Yeah,
and there
but
was
like bunch of loaves, bunch of English muffins, stuff like that. And you were looking for wholesaling options to restaurants. That was like a goal.
Or like grocery stores or like little shops. So like currently we sell at East End Food Co-op in Regent Square, and I deliver there twice a week, and then once a week up to Chenot Farms in Wexford. So
what is it called?
Chenot Farms.
Chenot.
Shenot.
Never heard of them.
Yeah. Excuse me. It's like Sorgles. Have you ever heard of Sorgles?
Yeah.
Or Trax, it's like equivalent to that, like a family-run farm market kind of place. They're open year-round, and so they weren't happy with their past bread provider and came to the shop and we're like, what can we do here? So we've had a great partnership ever since. And so we wanted to, you know, that's what we want to do is more of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Get our bread out to like lots of different corners of the county.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, in the beginning, are you guys doing these like exotic loaves, like this chocolate cherry, or was it kind of just like, you know, the run of the mill?
I know we were doing some cool stuff, and he still does. So he tries to do a specialty sourdough every month. In January, it was spiced cranberry walnut sourdough.
Wow.
In December, it was white chocolate cherry pistachio sourdough. In November, it's pumpkin sourdough. October was pumpkin sourdough too. So he's always coming up with cool new things.
So you guys hit the ground running. Like he already had, you know, he had his what's the right word? He had his stripes as a baker. Like he knew his way around the kitchen as far as a baker.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the English muffins became a really popular thing because they're sourdough. They're different. Not a lot of people in the city make them by hand. They're labor intensive as fuck. And ours are incredible. They're really fluffy. Like you can look at them. They're really thick. Yeah. And they make great sandwiches. They hold up well to anything that you want to put on it. So people became really, really obsessed with those. And that and sourdough and focaccia and
Are you and you don't bake it all yourself?
No, not really. No.
Do you cook?
I don't like to.
Yeah. I mean, well, if you got a trained chef at home, you know.
Yes, I know. Sorry, Dan. I love you so much.
That's what he signed up for.
I know. Yeah.
So I mean, like building out this business and like kind of just, you know, figuring it out and hoping that it works.
Yeah.
You know, what was like the jump off in June? Like, did it turn out to be all right?
Yeah, it turned out to be all right.
Just like, you know, people like how did you get your name out there? I know you said you did like, you know, pop-ups and everything.
Yeah.
But I mean, you guys have a pretty good following on Instagram.
I do. Yeah.
How does that sort of
happen?
Come to be? Yeah.
I've always been the social media person, and I was just sharing like really real things, I think. But I had hired an influencer, Anna Eats Pittsburgh, who you should have on your podcast.
I've messaged her. It's hard to get a hold of her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good to know. I know her personally, so I'll put in a good word for you.
Yeah, that's it's interesting. The whole food influencer thing.
It's wild.
It's a very interesting sort of time that we're in right now.
Yeah, right.
About 5 or 6 years ago, there was all kinds of food photographers. That's whenever it kind of started.
Bloggers, right?
Yeah,
putting it on blogs.
Kind of whenever it started to take off. But now there's just people that like get hired to come and kind of create a reel about it. And I mean, that's that moment, hiring that influencer, like that moved the needle for you?
Oh my God, yeah.
Really?
In a way that you cannot even fathom.
It's crazy to me because all due respect to her and all the other food influencers,
right.
But to me, it kind of feels, I don't even want to say it kind of feels generic. You know what I mean? Like, and whenever I say that, like, obviously she's killing it. She's the one in the city that's doing it.
Yeah.
You look at her Instagram, she's the one.
She's the one.
But if you look at it, it's like you see the same types of...
Oh, yeah.
The same types of reels, the same types of businesses. And to me, as like a regular consumer, I kind of feel almost like, it's almost like a sponsored ad, some way.
I know what you mean. I think that you have to like choose your influencers wisely.
That's where it is.
Yeah.
You got to choose them wisely.
And you have to have some kind of connection with them.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
The food influencer.
Yeah. So I met Anna a couple years ago at a coffee shop that I was working at. And we just kind of like followed each other and stayed in touch. And in 2020, oh God, where are we? Okay. Like this time last year, 2023, we were working out of a church basement for Brown Bear and a church basement kitchen. And I asked if Anna would come in and do a reel for me for, I wanted to do like a Valentine's Day sweets box and sell a bunch of them. And then St. Patrick's Day one as well. So she came in and did a couple reels and it went well. I got like pretty good sales, nothing that we couldn't handle.
Yeah.
And then, so when we started the shop, I hired her at the beginning, in like June, I think on opening day, she came in and again, big uptick in followers. So that was really great. And then she just like totally exploded and blew up.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah. So she has like, I don't even know, over 100,000 followers at this point.
I think over 150 now.
Oh my God. That's insane.
It is crazy because like, I remember seeing her stuff, before, like she probably had like 5,000 or 6,000 back then, but then like you look at it a couple months later and it's like
25.
booming.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And then she's getting millions and millions of views on things.
Yes, exactly.
So I guess that makes sense.
And now it's like people trust her.
Yeah.
They have, now it's like everywhere that she recommends, people are like, oh, I know it's going to be a good place because 100%. She recommended it. So that's what I mean about like choose your influencer wisely. You know?
Let me be clear. Whenever I say that it feels generic or anything like that, I'm not necessarily talking about her.
No,
I'm
like
talking about
the whole like industry of
the whole industry of it.
Yeah, it's weird when you really look back and think about it.
See how many people are doing it now, and I mean every day I see another food blogger pop up.
Yep.
And I mean I guess it's like the same as another podcast popping up. You know what I mean?
That's so true.
It's the truth. So you got to choose your podcast wisely.
Yes, very true, very true. So I had hired her again in October. October, November, December are great months for bakeries. Just excellent months for bakeries.
Yeah. Starting
to get colder. Everybody's like wanting some yummy, comforting foods. They're going out because it's fall and the weather's really nice. So they want to like do brunchy things, go out there, be out there. Fall in Pittsburgh is really nice.
Yeah.
It's a great time. So we wanted to feature our brunch menu and just like, see if we can get a little bit more business. Why not? And this is really funny. So I sometimes sing downtown at a church, at the First Presbyterian Church, as a part of like their paid singers. And I hadn't been doing it for a while because we opened this business and I needed to be there every Sunday morning because of course we're running brunch and I have to be there.
Yeah.
So I can't like skip out and go sing at church. But it had gotten to a point where we had an employee and it was like, okay, you know what? You can do it once a month, Kate. Go ahead, go sing at church and then come back when you're done and start working around 12:30. Okay, no problem. I didn't know that Anna was going to post a reel that day.
Oh, shit.
And she posted it while I was at church and all of a sudden my phone starts blowing the fuck up.
Wow.
And I was like, oh my God, like panicking, like I got to get out of here. I got to go to the shop. What's going on? Oh my God.
That's crazy.
I race back to the shop after church, line out the door. Every table's full.
Jeez.
My employee is like ready to pull his hair out. Everybody's freaking out. It was wild. It was absolutely insane. Like I did not expect that to happen.
Power of social media is wild.
It's wild. So from there on out, it's just kind of how it was. And all of a sudden we were selling out of food. It would be like, I don't have any bread or any food to sell you.
Yeah.
I have to close because I have nothing to sell.
That's a good thing.
Yeah. It happened a couple times before we were like, okay, I guess we got to up our orders. And it just totally blew up. I think that people keep coming back because
it's the quality of the stuff.
It's the quality of the stuff.
1,000,000%. I asked and what completely made this whole conversation happen is I told Dagny, I was like, "What's up with this focaccia? Are you making this focaccia?"
Yeah.
And because it was great, and she was like, "No, I get it from Brown Bear," but I was like, all right, I got to figure it out because you know, you could tell the quality of it all.
That's good.
If you go into a place and they don't have, and they just have like, your run of the mill stuff, you could tell a difference.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty incredible.
I think it's also that we only use like 4 ingredients to make bread.
Yeah.
Which is how it should be.
Yeah. Water, salt, yeast, or water, salt, starter.
Flour.
Yeah, flour. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, flour, water. Yeah, salt.
So we don't use any bleached flour or any flour that's been treated. So it's not organic or anything like that. We don't use any certified organic flours. But it's just very simple stuff treated really, really well with a lot of care.
Yeah.
So that translates into everything that we make for brunch because we're using the English muffins to make a breakfast sandwich. We're using the sourdough for toast on your breakfast plate.
Yeah.
We're using the white bread that Dan makes as our French toast. And that's what makes like such a difference, I think, to people is that they're not used to having such clean homemade stuff.
Yeah.
That's just simple. Like the thing that I love about Dan and his cooking and baking is it's just simple, but he treats everything with such respect and the respect that it deserves, that you can just like taste the best version of whatever he's trying to make. And I've always loved that about him. He's like very influenced by like classic French cooking.
Yeah.
And he has, if you saw the cookbook collection at our house.
Oh, I'm sure it's
dear God.
Good bit.
If we ever move, please help us.
Yeah, the French cooking is like, those are the people that like want that militant, like.
Yes. And that's, again,
the
it goes,
honor of it all.
Exactly. He is just like a little bread warrior.
Yeah,
and
respect it.
He is very respectful of everything that he does and everyone that has taught him everything that he's done.
I mean, you got to be respectful because a loaf of sourdough takes like, between like, it takes an insane amount of time. So, I mean, you want to become efficient.
Yeah.
So like you have to become obsessed.
Yeah, he's obsessed.
Yeah, obsessed. I mean, I'm sure he's done 1,000,000 different loaves and he has a notebook with all different hydration, what
God.
works good. And what, I mean, I got my notebook too. And I only did it for a month or two. I can't imagine what he's doing. But
the paper, it looks like the writings of a madman. Sometimes.
Yeah.
It's just like scattered about
I can't
our
even
apartment.
imagine. It got to be crazy, especially with all the, I mean, and just with like the ordering, I'm sure it took you a minute to like get your footing as far as like what you're selling, how much you have to order, how much you have to prepare,
how much we have to sell it for. Yeah. All of these things. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So
is he just in the kitchen, around the clock, just doing everything?
Yeah. It's like I said, it's a very thankless job.
Yeah.
So hug a baker if you know one. But he gets in really early and he stays all day till we close. And he is very insanely hardworking. So is Kaylee. They both just know what it takes to run a kitchen and they just grind and they just do it and they do such a good job. It's an honor to work with them, to be honest with you.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you guys got your footing now.
I think we do. Yeah, I think we do. We have been doing like killing it at brunch on the weekends. We serve brunch every single day from 10 to 2. But the weekends are totally crazy. And it's been difficult to find a way because we're so new. Like we can only hire so many people. We can only, do so many things. And so sometimes that means that like, it might not be as efficient as I want it to be because it's just me running the whole show sometimes in the front of the house anyway, like trying to seat people and make people happy and take their order and pour their coffee and clear their plate and wipe a table and fill the water, like all of that stuff. It's a lot of the time just me. And so trying to like, I don't know, let people know like what to expect when they come in is like, listen, I'm going to treat you well and you're going to have some really kick-ass food, but be
have
cool.
Some grace.
Be cool and see how difficult this is and see that like we're all just trying to make it work. And for the most part, like 98% of the people that walk through that door are like so grateful and happy to be there and just happy to try some of the food that a lot of people are talking about. And that they're so gracious. That means a lot. That means so much to me.
And then the other 2% are the people that have 7,500 Yelp reviews that are like, it was overdone a little bit. And you're like, come on.
Yeah. Or it's like, they didn't check on me. And it's like, can you read the room? Please. Do you see how much I'm sweating?
I've interviewed a good bit of chefs around here, like pretty high profile ones that have established businesses, and it's always so fascinating to hear because like you said, it's a thankless job, but everyone goes into these restaurants and like sits down and everyone's like, oh yeah, I mean, everyone got to focus on me, my food better be hot, all this stuff. But realistically, if no one has ever spent any time in a kitchen or any food industry at all, I mean, you don't understand that it's a chaotic symphony of people just running around up there.
Yeah, that's really what it is.
And it's
like a dance.
Yeah, and it's like you would hope that your customer base would be the people, like you said, the majority of them are, that understand that like, you're small business, you guys are, relatively new,
right?
And you're just figuring it out. Right. Have some grace with it.
Yeah, and so it's really nice that people do. And the people that don't, it's okay.
Yeah.
I'm not going to make them happy.
Yeah.
And that's all right.
We have a lot of other people that are happy enough.
Yeah, exactly. And that are supporting us just fine. And we're doing good. And I think some people don't quite like understand our business model, that like it's all based around the bread. I'm not going to have, I just don't have a lot of like lunch options on the menu. It's brunch for a reason. And it starts at 10 for a reason. And that reason is that, like there's only 3 of us that run basically the whole thing.
Yeah.
So, we need to sleep and we need to travel to our jobs and we need to take care of ourselves as well.
Yeah, have some sort of a healthy mental and social life.
That's not happening.
I can't imagine. Well, especially, I mean, if you're not even 6 months into it yet, or a little bit over 6 months into it,
it's not even a year. So
you're probably still just like running, figuring it out, probably still figuring out where to put the oil on this machine. To make it a well-oiled machine, which is probably getting to, I'm sure.
Yes, definitely. But it's difficult and like the
growing pains.
Yes. Oh my God. And the problems don't stop. The problems don't stop coming. They just keep coming and you just dodge them and figure it out. And that's it, because you have to keep going.
Yeah. I mean, well, that's probably what separates you from the people that are closing their stores. Over, these small problems that everyone has to deal with.
Yeah. Like I know in the back of my mind, this is not forever. So this crazy amount of work that we're doing, and just constant problems and, not being able to take care of myself.
You don't love it? You don't love the craziness?
Of course I do. I thrive in chaos. I really do. But, it's not forever.
Well, what's the goal then?
With the business?
Yeah, I mean, like you guys are, just getting there now, and it's starting getting on your feet now. Like, what are the goals?
The goal is to get our bread into lots of corners of the county and beyond.
Okay.
The goal is to get our bread to different markets, grocery stores, really just like get the reach out there.
Yeah.
Because it's special and people really love it and people do travel for it. So let's make them not have to travel so much. So this summer we're definitely going to be doing more farmers markets.
Up the accessibility.
Up the accessibility. Yeah, definitely. And focus on bread and baking and pastries and cakes. We do custom cakes as well. Kaylee is like the master custom cake maker. She's at Kaylee Cake, Kaylie Cake on Instagram, and you should check out her stuff. It's just gorgeous. So I do get some custom cake orders a couple a week. If anybody out there is looking for something, I need 72 hours notice. That's it.
So I mean, as you're all figuring this out, you're all doing, your own part to make this ship sail in a straight line. What are, what is like how do you all like kind of take a break from it all? I mean, if you're in like the the thick of it all as a business owner that just opened their business, like what do you and your partners do to kind of blow off some steam and kind of like, what do you do when you're not in the bakery? Like, what do you enjoy doing?
Being with my dogs. Yeah, hanging out with my dogs. So we named the business after Luke, who's my little soul dog, but we also have a little pit bull named Tippy. And she came to us in 2022 from the Virgin Islands. Actually, there's a rescue here in Pittsburgh, or they have like affiliation in Pittsburgh, and they send dogs from the islands up here to be fostered and then adopted.
What's that one called?
Cruzon Satos.
Okay, yeah. There's another one that someone mentioned to me. They fly dogs up from different places too.
Yeah. So Tippy came to us on like a very long journey, but I initially reached out to them to say, I think I want to foster a dog. And they were like, hey, we only have puppies right now. And I was like, I definitely don't want a puppy. I knew I couldn't handle like a puppy. I was like, I need something that's like a year old, kind of a little bit more established. Yeah. They were like, well, the only one we have is this dog. And it was Tippy, and she is disabled. So she, I don't really know the first 9 months of her life. She appeared somewhere on the island. She didn't look good. Somebody called it in to the rescue, and they came and got Tippy. She was really, really malnourished, really underweight, had fleas, had worms, and wasn't walking right. Like definitely has some weird paw issue, like deformities. And I just fell in love with her little face, and originally was just going to be a foster. Like, I can do this. You
failed. Yeah, foster failed.
I super did. And she's a pain in the ass, and I love her so much.
That's all right.
Oh, she's such a pain, but she is the sweetest. She's taught us a lot about life. Like, she is the happiest dog I've ever met. She doesn't walk right. She's definitely in pain. Her wrists are very swollen. She has severe arthritis in her wrists and her front paws, and the rest of her is just kind of not built right. So we've been doing everything we can. We give her lots of supplements. She gets lots of love. She gets lots of care from the vets, and we've taken her to some specialists to try to see what we can do, and there's not a whole lot. So we take her to physical therapy.
Wow.
Yeah. And
going to the lengths to give her a great life.
Yeah, she deserves it.
Yeah.
She deserves it because she wants it.
Yeah.
It'd be different if this dog, like there's definitely people in my life who have been like, well, I don't know why they wouldn't just euthanize that dog,
100%.
Like, yeah. And it's like, well, because she doesn't want to be, and you can totally tell when you meet her, she's just so happy to be alive and meeting people, and she's just never not wagging her tail. And she tries really hard to keep up with everybody and play with her brother, and so it's just very obvious to me that this dog wants to live. And if there's any indication that that is not the case, that's a different conversation that I will have when that time comes. But for now, she's super happy and super great. So I love hanging out with the dogs at home. They are my little kids, and Dan and I do a lot of gardening in our backyard as well. Eventually, we'd love to have Brown Bear Farms. Dan wants to really like start to grow. We do grow our own produce, but
on a bigger scale.
Yeah, on a bigger scale, and also just really growing the stuff that we actually want to eat rather than like 5 tomato plants. Like, nobody needs that many tomatoes.
I know
that's what everybody does, and everybody thinks that that's what you should do. And
I grew all my peppers. I had more than I ever needed, and it made me learn how to make hot sauce.
Yeah.
So now I make hot
lining.
sauces.
Exactly.
Yeah, silver linings.
Or you give it away to your community. You
could try. You could try. I had 1,000 habanero peppers, and people were like, I don't want those at all. So I just had to make 50 bottles of hot sauce. But I'm very much a proponent of like trying to get into that homesteading type of vein. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like rescuing dogs and growing your own food, and just like being happy. Being happy doesn't necessarily mean having, like, I don't know, the life that I thought maybe I would have when I was a kid. Like fast-paced city girl, working hard, like dressing all cute and wearing heels. Like that's not really reality of what it actually means to be happy.
Well, that just goes to show you the time frame that we grew up in.
Yeah.
It's just like, can you imagine the young kids now, like what they're going to be like when they're our age, and saying like, Man, can you believe when people like used to go to college and shit and like, you know, do
people
all
used
this?
to pay for this shit?
People used to like just, if they weren't happy, they used to just stay at jobs until they died.
Yeah.
And you're like, holy shit.
Exactly. We don't have to take that. We don't have to take that because we don't have a lot of time.
Yeah.
Period.
I know, it's crazy.
But also like, you know, the world is not doing great. So just do whatever makes you happy, as long as it's between, you know, as long as everybody is happy and consenting, and do whatever you got to do to make you happy.
100%.
And so if that means that you flip burgers for the rest of your life, somebody's got to flip your burger.
Absolutely.
Somebody's got to do it. And so why not me?
Someone's going to do it well.
Exactly.
I mean, so you do everything 10 to 2 at Brown Bear now.
Brunch is 10 to 2.
Are you open every day?
Yeah, Monday through Friday I'm open at 8. So I have all my baked goods out for people on their way to work. So, you know, bread, you can pick up bread. Cinnamon rolls are really popular. And I have coffee and stuff and tea. You can come and sit and work. I have Wi-Fi. And then brunch starts at 10 every single day, no matter what. So it just gives us a chance to finish baking for the day and then transition into brunch without too much overlap.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you guys are just ripping.
Literally. Yes.
Yeah.
Just ripping through, working our asses off, and mostly having a good time. There's been so much that we've had to overcome that I can't even get into, but I've learned a lot, and I've learned a lot about myself and what it takes for me to be okay. And I've learned that like I need to take care of myself a lot more, and that I don't necessarily know what that means.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I don't think that we all have been like taught to even think about that stuff, to even reflect on what I need to be happy.
I feel like our ages was the last age that, you know, the whole talk of mental health and everything was like, you know, even in the equation, you know, now it's more accepted, but you know, when you're younger, you're like, like, don't cry, like, you know, don't whine about this shit, you know, you know what I mean?
I've always talked about all of my struggles and everything that's going, like, sure, I keep stuff inside too, but like for the most part, I'm an open book. And if someone asks me how I'm doing, I'll be like, you really want to know? Here we go. I can tell you. And because it just makes us all, I don't know, feel more comfortable. Like, why are we hiding? I just want
authenticity.
Yeah. Why are we hiding behind like, oh yeah, no, I'm doing good today. Everything's good. It's like, it's okay if it's not good, and tell me why it's not good, because I might be having the same problem and I don't know how to talk about it.
Yeah. It's crazy.
And so me just like just being super honest with people and telling them exactly how I'm feeling is definitely jarring to some people. And I think that some people don't like me because of that. And that's okay. I'm a little too much for some people.
Yeah. I'm a blunt person.
Yeah.
I'm a blunt person.
Me too.
I just say what I feel.
Yeah.
And if you like it, that's fine. But if you don't, whatever. That's what this has been the last like couple months. I've been skipping episodes, skipping weeks. I just have not had the mental capacity to want to be in a great mood to sit down and talk to people.
Yes.
And there's
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, it's like
if you need alone time, just take alone time.
That's what it is.
If you need time to rot on the couch, just go rot on the couch.
Yeah, you know, it sucks because before all this tragedy happened, the end of the year, it's just like things are ripping with this, but then like, you know, just kind of took the wind out of my sails.
It's just a little rock in the stream.
A little rock in it.
That's it. And you're just on your way around it.
Yeah, we're figuring it out. We're moving along.
Yeah.
Getting back to scheduled programming with talking to great people like you.
Thanks.
And all the rest of the people that I have on. But, you know, what, I mean, like, how do I want to phrase it? Where you said that this isn't your goal, long-term goal, you know, to have this cafe for the rest of your life, right?
I mean, listen, I don't know.
Well, in your mindset now, it's like, do you have like an end goal of what you would like?
No, I mean, no, not really. Okay. Like, if I'm being honest with you, no, I could make something up right now.
No, I don't want you to.
Yeah.
You just said this isn't going to be a forever thing.
Oh, I just mean that working this hard, this much is not going to be forever.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, like
once you get established, you could set the machine in motion.
Exactly.
You know? You do all the hard work in the beginning.
Yes.
and you want to just kind of set it and forget it.
So that's my, oh my God, set it and forget it. Remember
that? Love it.
Guys, the best infomercial.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my mantra right now is like, this is not forever. This feeling is not forever. And it's okay to be feeling this way about the unknown.
Treading water, feeling like you're going to drown.
Yeah.
But,
so my shop is 3 floors, and the first floor is like where, retail stuff happens. The second floor, there's like some extra seating and stuff. And then the kitchen is on the 3rd floor.
3rd floor up there.
Yes. There's no dumbwaiter. There's no elevator. There's no nothing. It's just stairs. So, it is a lot.
Yeah.
It is a lot. On Saturday or Sunday, I did 40 flights of stairs in 4 hours.
Wow.
And my knees are definitely not happy about it. And I know the other 2 feel exactly the same way. So, like that also adds an extra level of hardness to this, of like, my body is just hurting a lot. And so it's not forever, and it's okay. I never thought I would be able to do this much physical work. And yet here I am doing it. Because I have no, like, that's just what you have to do.
Now you're your own boss.
And now my calves are ripped. You guys, you should see them.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's something about, like, I have no problem working hard, but like, I want to work hard for myself.
Yeah.
Like, and not that I won't work hard other places, but it's like, it feels, it doesn't feel as demanding.
It's a lot more rewarding.
That's a better way to say it. Because it's definitely demanding. It's still demanding, but
it's rewarding.
Yeah, the juice is that much. It's worth that squeeze.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's hard, and being your own boss is weird.
Yeah.
And hard, and I don't feel like it yet. I definitely don't feel like my own boss yet. I just feel like we're taking this train somewhere.
Couple more problems that you face, you'll feel like a boss probably.
Yeah, maybe we'll see.
The inevitable things that probably come with owning a business.
Yeah.
Figuring out problems and everything. But all right. I mean, do you think there's anything that I missed as far as, you being a baker or owner, part owner of a bakery / cafe, talking about your opera, talking about your realtor stint? Anything else I missed with that?
I don't know. I don't think so. Other than, working in the food industry, people have feelings about it.
Yeah. People
have negative feelings about it sometimes, and yet they still go to restaurants all the time.
Yeah.
Don't realize what it takes to actually do that. I think my dad is one of those people. He never worked in a restaurant. He doesn't understand how difficult it actually is, that we're not just, like cooking and having a good time and laughing and you know, throwing money in the air.
Like, what do your parents think about what you're doing now?
They're definitely proud. My mom is insanely proud, and she has come to visit several times, and every time I have to put her to work because it's busy, and that's the way that we're going to spend time together. And so, that sucks kind of, but she's so happy to do it. Yeah. And she's just so excited because like it really didn't hit me until I think the first time that she came to see the shop was in September. Mm-hmm. And it didn't hit me how cool it was until my mom saw it. Yeah. And then she was like, Kate, this is insane. Like, people are so happy to be here. People love you. People love this product. They love this store. Like, what you're doing makes a difference. And it took that for me to be like, this is worth it. I guess it is. I guess it does make a difference. Like, what we do does make a difference. And all we're doing is just like being ourselves, really. It's just being ourselves and taking care of people. I was on another podcast last week, and they asked me about tipping culture, what I thought about tipping culture. And people have so many things to say about tipping culture. But at the end of the day, we have to take care of each other. Mm-hmm. There's nobody else that's going to take care of us. The government is clearly not doing a good job at taking care of its people. And, however you want to interpret that is fine. But it's the truth. Yeah. It's difficult to exist in America right now if you're not past a certain income threshold. Hell yeah. It's really difficult. And people don't talk about that. They're ashamed to talk about that. I'm not ashamed to talk about it. It's a problem, and we can take care of each other. Community aid is definitely a thing. Mutual aid is definitely a thing. And I think that we can all start to look at tipping culture as that, as mutual aid, as helping your fellow man be able to afford the gas to get home. Yeah. That $2 that you tipped someone, again, could be $2 they put in their gas tank because that's all they had and they have to get home. Mm-hmm. Like, I've done that. How many of us have put $2 in their bank account because that was their cash tip? I have so many times because I've been there and it sucks and I'm tired of hiding behind it. And I think that we all need to take care of each other more. There's like kind of this boomer mentality of like, you got to work hard and that's it. And you just got to work and work really hard. And I did it all myself and I pulled myself up by my bootstraps.
We're all fucking working pretty hard and like getting crumbs.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like
exactly. We're all killing ourselves.
And it's like the people that are saying this are the people that, you know, grew that were working hard in air quotes back in like the late 70s and the early 80s and you know, it just doesn't equate really,
right? When you could buy a house for $12,000.
I mean, granted the pay is different and everything like that, and people could look into that and argue that point and all that, but you know, realistically it's different.
It's super different, and we're not also
it's like the inflation of things going up at like people's hourly rate not going up. Correct. Ever. It's like, where does
math ain't mathin',
it ain't mathin'.
The math ain't mathin'.
It ain't mathin', and people are getting fucking tired of it.
Exactly. And I think that the only way that we're going to survive in a gracious way is by taking care of each other.
Yeah.
So that means spending money at my shop because you know that it's going to go towards buying good ingredients to feed you and your family.
Yeah.
And that makes you happy. And that makes me happy that we did that for you. And then you're putting economy back into the community, which is bringing more people into a community that might need that economy, that might need a little bit of tourism.
Yeah. It's funny because like the boomer mentality doesn't even really work now, because the boomer mentality, as far as like, you know, the small mom and pop shops, is like, oh yeah, things are going to be more expensive there. But it's like walking to Giant Eagle, you're paying a fuckload of money for this bullshit, and it just keeps going up.
And there's nothing you can do about it.
Giant Eagle got us in a chokehold around here in Pittsburgh.
Sure does.
It's crazy.
Sure does.
But I would argue that, like, you know, you're not going to pay that much more for the stuff that is quality made by, you know, people. Granted, Giant Eagle got a nice bakery section, but this shit is fucking crazy money.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I have a gripe with Giant Eagle. I brought him up here on a bunch, but it's like
no sponsorship from Giant Eagle around here.
The math ain't mathin'. I had the head chef of Get Go come on a while back. Yeah, Chef Tom. Shout out to Chef Tom. He was fantastic.
I bet.
And that was a great conversation.
Well, he knows what the real people want. You know what I mean?
Privately owned. One of the biggest privately owned businesses being Giant Eagle.
Really?
Privately owned. Yeah. And you know, I've tweeted that I would like people, like a spokesperson from Giant Eagle, to come on. Just talk to me. Tell me that I'm wrong and that I don't know what I'm saying.
Right.
I just want to know why things are. Why are these prices going up still?
And where does the money go?
Where does it go?
Does it go to the CEO? Because like, shut up.
I mean, like, you can go off on 1,000 things, but like, if there is not one single person that's checking me out and I'm checking it out, these groceries should be discounted a little bit.
Yeah.
But that's a whole nother conversation.
Well, yeah, they kind of deserve any of the stealing that might happen.
It's crazy. Full circle though, like, you know, things are pretty comparable in price, whether you go to a small mom and pop,
it's true, or
something more mainstream like that.
Yeah, it's true. And I think that the quality is just so much better. So
absolutely,
being that we don't use any preservatives or anything in our bread does last like 3 to 5 days at room temperature, because that's what bread is supposed to do.
Yeah.
Everybody, if your bread is lasting room temperature longer than a week, it's scary. What's in it? I don't know. Enzymes. I mean, that's just the American food system. It's fine. You're not going to die eating these things. Like it's fine. But I think that
the younger generation, though, it's becoming more cyclical, where it's the younger generation that wants to become more of this like homesteading lifestyle, wants like more, you know, wholesome things to eat, wants more like clean things to eat, natural things to eat. Yeah. And that whole boomer mentality is like, yeah, well, I mean, it's so much more expensive. You're paying for all this bougie ass shit. And you're like, well, you know, it's just we've been led astray.
Yeah, definitely.
But whatever. I digress on the boomer conversation. But okay, so do you want to get to the ending segment? I do a quick
what's your ending segment?
I do a quick ending segment with everyone. It's an ending segment called Desert Island Questions.
Desert Island questions.
Desert Island questions.
Okay. Ooh,
so
cool. All right.
These are just quick answers. So whatever comes to your mind. I don't tell people about this in the beginning just because, you know, I just want whatever pops into your mind.
Okay.
So Desert Island questions, whenever I give each guest 3 categories to take with them on a desert island and use until they starve to death and die. First category, 3 movies to take on a desert island.
Okay. I'm going to get real moody.
That's all right.
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Great.
Means a lot to me. Elf.
It's a good one too.
Also means a lot to me. God, Dan is somewhere shaking his head because I don't know that many movies.
That's all right. What do you think his is? What's his favorite?
Oh God, I don't know. I'm so bad at this. I'm sorry, Chad.
That's all right.
I don't know what his favorite. Oh, any of the Harry Potters, honestly.
Perfect.
I have a Harry Potter tattoo.
That's great. I love it.
J.K. Rowling has, leaves a lot to be desired these days, unfortunately, but Harry Potter still does mean a lot to me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a perfect way to say it. Do you read it all?
Yeah, not as much as I want to these days, but.
Okay. If you had like a favorite book or two, I usually ask people 3 books they would take on a desert island.
Okay.
But you could give me 1 or 2 if you have them.
You're like, I know you don't have a lot of time to read.
That's all right.
Yeah, I've read this book, Atonement, like several times.
Atonement.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's just a beautiful coming of age kind of story. World War II, I think, in Britain.
Was it a movie too?
Yeah, it was a movie with Keira Knightley.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's beautifully written. Weirdly, another World War II book. The Reader, also fantastic.
Never heard of that.
Fantastic. So good. I mean, of course, I could say all the Harry Potters too. I've read all
I'll
those.
give you all those.
I read all those.
Those
like
are
3
those
times.
are coming up on my list. I've never read them yet.
No?
I'm a big movie guy. I've watched all the movies a bunch. I'm a late to life reader.
Fair.
So I feel like I got to get through them now.
When the 7th Harry Potter book came out, I was like 14, and my dad had rented a cottage for the weekend for us for like, that's what we did every summer, and up on Lake Ontario. And I got the book right before we left, and I stayed up like 36 hours just like reading the book cover to cover. It was wild. Oh, it was so fun.
That's all right. You're a Harry Potter stan. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay. Third category, 3 CDs to take.
Oh my God. For some reason, the first thing that came up is Jagged Little Pill.
Alanis Morissette. Come on now.
Great.
That's a good one.
Cover to cover, man.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So good. Another cover to cover one that's good is Plans, Death Cab for Cutie.
Yeah, that's a great one as well.
And then, I mean, this might be a little basic of me, but Rumors, Fleetwood Mac. Again,
those
cover
are
to
good
cover.
answers. Those are all good answers. I would be fine with all those.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Those are ones that you can definitely just listen to start to finish and just be like, yep, that was a perfect album.
Absolutely. Third to last question is something called the Death Row Meal. So the Death Row Meal,
The sound.
you get like, you know what that sounds from?
I mean, no.
You don't know what that sound is?
Yeah, it's a gong, right?
No, that's the Undertaker's horn. That's the Undertaker's sound. Whenever you never watch wrestling?
No.
Okay, I can't hate you for that.
Sorry.
Some people will hear that and be like, "Oh my god," and then I'm like, I don't know. It's such like I have like dreams of that sound.
But play it again because it's also the Taco Bell sound. Is it like a little bit?
It's a little bit like
different.
But this is the undead man in wrestling.
Yes, you're right.
But yeah. So Death Row Meal, you get a main course, an entree, and a dessert. What would they be?
Oh my god. I probably some kind of like steak and potato sort of situation.
Yeah. It's usually picked on here a good bit.
Honestly, anything with potatoes. If I could just have like an unhinged death row meal, I could do that.
That's what I want. Like,
oh my god, it would be like loaded cheese fries.
Yeah.
And then like maybe some like fried Brussels sprout of some kind. I'm always a sucker for that. Maybe like a meat and cheese situation as well. This is all at the same time, by the way.
Yeah.
And then dessert would just be like 3 or 4 pints of Ben & Jerry's ice cream.
Ben & Jerry's, what flavor?
Oh my god, stop. I'm the biggest ice cream like connoisseur.
Are you?
I fucking can't live without it. I love it so much. So there's this flavor Ben & Jerry's has. I'm literally getting it on the way home. And it's called PB over the top, peanut butter over the top.
Oh wow.
It has like ganache on the top and it's like chocolate ice cream with peanut butter cups.
Oh, that sounds good.
Oh my god.
I'm like late to the life. I'm late to life on peanut butter. I used to like peanut butter on like peanut butter and jellies and stuff like that, but I hated any like peanut butter cookies or like things like that. But now I'm enjoying it a good
Chocolate
bit.
peanut butter is the best.
Yeah, it is. It's good.
Yeah.
Okay, so second to last question is what was I going to? Oh, actually, this is a throw-in that I've been asking everyone. What's the best concert you've ever been to?
The best concert I've ever been to. So I'm definitely like a weirdo in that really loud things and like places and spaces freak me out. I don't like really super loud sounds. So when I was in college, I went to like tons and tons of recitals. people's, like, or orchestra concerts or choir concerts or something like that. One time my college orchestra played, I mean, should I tell you? It's like an opera thing, but
yeah, I want to know what it is.
They played, like they had a guest soprano come in and play, and she was singing the role of Isolde, which is from a Wagner opera called Tristan und Isolde.
Jeez.
And this piece is called the Liebestod, which is it happens like after Tristan dies, and it's this whole it's just like the most beautiful, rich, insane piece of music, but also it's usually paired with the prelude to Tristan und Isolde, and it's like just I'm literally getting chills talking about it.
That was like your...
Yes, it's just like the most
wow.
beautiful music. Now, Wagner was like pretty problematic in his life and his beliefs, so a lot of people don't listen to Wagner anymore, which I completely understand.
Yeah.
But if you were to, it's got to be that, and it's just like the richest, most beautiful...
You're gonna have to like type this out. So
I will. Yeah.
So I could get an idea.
You have to be like definitely in the right mood, because it probably will make you cry.
That's all right.
It's a lot.
I'm interested though.
Yeah. It's cool.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay, second to last question. You're getting ready to go on a road trip. You go for a snack. What is your snack of choice?
A gummy of any kind.
Gummies?
I love a gummy.
Really?
Yes.
What's your preferred?
Probably Sour Patch Watermelon.
The Patch Kids.
Good.
Patch Kids Watermelon.
They
are so good.
You eat them until your mouth bleeds, man.
Until like your gums are just like raw.
Hurting. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's
also
good.
a Welch's gummy.
Those are good.
I love a gummy.
Those are good.
Also, like if I get a gummy, I will also get a salty thing at the same time.
Yeah.
Those Fritos, the twisty ones.
Yeah, the chili cheese Fritos.
No, the barbecue, the twisty
barbecue.
ones.
Okay, yeah.
The honey barbecue. Fuck me up. Those are so good. And a seltzer, because I'm obsessed.
Well, that's a good answer. Those are both good answers. Let me ask you a side question. Now that you like you like music and everything, did you ever get to go see any of the Harry Potters with the live orchestra?
Yeah, I did. I saw the second one in Syracuse with a live orchestra.
Man, it sells out every single time here, and I cannot get tickets for it. It looks insane.
Who puts it on? Does the Trust put it on? Or
I think so. I think it's the Pittsburgh Cultural Trust. I think maybe. I have
a friend who works for the opera, so I might have a little bit of pull.
Might have to pull some strings.
Let me know.
Okay. Last question that I ask everyone is: if you could have a conversation with anyone alive or dead, who would it be and why?
Oh God!
Crazy opera singer.
No, Anthony Bourdain.
He's been picked on here so many times.
God damn it! Yeah.
He's I mean, like, it's understandable though. I mean,
we were just talking about him today. Someone at the shop and I were just talking about him because they said that they were listening to Kitchen Confidential for the first time, like an audiobook, and
he reads it.
Yeah, and there's
a different level.
God, there's a part in there where they're talking about feeding the sourdough starter.
Yeah.
And he was never the baker, but his baker was just like a total fuck up. I think it was at Le Bernardin, and his baker was just like a total fuck up, and would call him at 3 a.m. and be like, I forgot to feed the starter, man. You got to go feed the starter. So Anthony would be like, fuck you, and like have to like get up and go feed the fucking starter. And they always called it the bitch. And so he was like, I got to go feed the bitch. God, this thing is like, the way he describes it is just so beautiful.
I know. Same thing with like how he cures like a hangover, that like, that like legendary, and like what you have to have at a restaurant, have the cream sauce and all that.
Exactly. Everyone should, well, I mean, take it with a grain of salt, but everyone should appreciate life and things the way that Anthony Bourdain did.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm still mad at him for what happened, and I'm still very upset about it, but he really taught a whole generation of foodies how to live. Yeah. So I would love to talk to him.
Gave us an insider's look as much as we could.
I think I think his whole existence helped people appreciate what restaurant people deal with.
I mean, who else was doing that if you think about it? Who else was having the types of shows that he did? Usually it was like an Emerald or like a Yan Can Cook or something
Bobby
like
Flay.
that. Bobby Flay, but that's all like in like a production kitchen. Like this dude's in a fucking alley
in Taiwan
eating with some grandmother who is wearing no shoes. And, taking the president, taking Obama into these like little back ass places.
I forgot about that episode.
Yeah, dude was a legend for sure.
Oh God, yeah. So good.
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
Really good answer.
Thanks.
Okay. Now take a second and tell everyone where they could find all this delicious stuff.
So you can find us at our shop at 225 Brownsville Road in Pittsburgh. It's in the Mount Oliver neighborhood. And we're open every day Monday through Friday, 8 to 2, Saturday, Sunday, 10 to 2. You can find our products at East End Food Co-op in Regent Square and Chanot Farms up in Wexford, soon to be in lots of other places around, I hope. We're going to be doing some farmers markets. So the way that I keep in touch with everybody is Instagram. So I'm at brown.bear.bread.cafe on Instagram. I post stories as much as I can with like announcements of things that might be going on. Maybe we're out of something. Maybe we have to close earlier or something like that. That's where I do all of the announcements, and it's shared right to Facebook too. So you could search us on Facebook and find us. Look for the logo with the dog ears. We also have a website, brownbearbread.co. And yeah, come see us. Come let us feed you. It'll be a good time, and you're going to love the food that we serve you, and the vibes are good, and we're good people just trying to do good things and have a nice life. And that's basically the gist of it.
That's all you could ask.
That's all you can ask. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you taking some time to come over and talk to me about what you do. I hope you had a great time with this. I hope you feel like we did Brown Bear's story justice.
Yeah, I mean, we talked a lot about, me being an opera, and that's a big part of
that's fascinating to me.
How I got here, you know. But Brown Bear is my life, and I love it, and I'm having a really good time.
Well, and next year, come back whenever you guys get into the rest of your adventures. Maybe we'll get your partner to come in.
Yeah,
I'd like to talk to him about baking.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, he knows so much more than I do. Oh my god!
And I'm not like someone who has no experience, and I think we could have a little bit. I think we'd have a little bit of talking.
Yeah, you'd know about like Levan and stuff.
Oh yeah, 100%. A lamb and all that stuff.
Oh,
the little blades and everything. I got a mean ass one upstairs. Let me ask you a question. Now, the starter that you guys have, how much? Like how many grams is it? Like how big is it?
It changes constantly.
Like, do you guys have like a trash can full of a starter, like you would see in some of them?
Not quite that big, but we do have.
Get there for sure. Though.
Yeah, like currently, I had to bring Phil home because he needs a certain amount of time at one temperature and then a certain amount of time at another temperature. So and we had to leave the shop for various reasons today. So Phil changes shape constantly depending on what we need to make. Yeah. Sometimes he'll get like way down to nothing. Sometimes like right now he's in like a big, probably like a 6 or 8 quart Cambro, and it's like halfway up because Dan is getting ready to make a lot of sourdough tomorrow and Wednesday. So he changes constantly, but like there's definitely lots of discard too. Yeah all around.
Hell yeah, my
life is only flour.
I know. Yeah, it's probably everywhere. All right, well I appreciate it. I really do.
I appreciate you. This was awesome.
Everything will be downstairs, or not downstairs. Everything will be, scroll down. You'll see in the description. It's like I'm having a stroke or something. Scroll down in the description. You could click on all the links there. Find Brown Bear Bread Cafe. You could find their Instagram link. Everything else. But everyone else that's listening, appreciate you as usual. And each and every week, we're back with another great guest doing great things in our city. Thank you for listening. Call you right back. I'll call you right back podcast.